Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, the sell side has been dominant and yes, has sold off down into the 44 to 46 support on above average volume. At this point, heading into the open, we still have support at 44 to 46. That marks the recent balanced breakout area, so it's a very key spot. And at this point, heading into the open, our short-term directional bias is going to be neutral. The overnight bias is bearish, and how ES responds to 44 to 46 and 52 to 54 half is going to help set the intraday bias on the day. So if we break below 44 to 46, we can still technically have responsive buyers active at the 40 half high volume node or at one of the support zones below. But at that point, we know that the recent balance breakout has failed. And from there, we can continue some two-sided movement unless we really start selling off on just broad market weakness. And if we're seeing a lot of sustained downside momentum, then of course we have to be careful on fading any of the support areas below 44 to 46. So how ES responds to this initial support zone is really going to help set the tone. And even if we are getting buyers off the 40 half high volume node, we're going to want to see ES back above 44 to 46 in order to confirm that buyers are really stepping in a bigger way. And then perhaps we can head higher into 52 to 54 half. But if we get a bounce off 40 half, but we continue holding below 44 to 46, then it's just further confirmation that it's a failed breakout, and then that could lead to some continued selling into the 35 quarter, 36 quarter, which is a minor area of support, and then the next major zone would be 31 to 33, and that would still be an area where again buyers can be active on first test, and then a failure at 31 to 33 just further proves that's a failed breakout, and then below that you're going to want to be careful again until 26 quarter and perhaps even 23, 24. At that point, you really start to exhaust the range potential of the day. So even though it would be confirmed that sellers are in control by then, the range might be pretty much out at that point, and you may not go too much lower, at least on the day time frame today. So that's the downside scenario in the event that the 44 to 46 and the 40 half HVN completely fail to hold. On the upside, the first area of decent resistance is 52 to 54 half, and a breakout above that area would signal buyers still pretty active in this market, and the short-term bias would still be neutral, which means that sellers can still be active at the resistance zones above, and then perhaps we just balance within a range and establish a new balance area above 44 to 46. So in the event that we take out 52 to 54 half, the next area of resistance would be up near the previous VPOC and the overnight high, 58 half to 59 half, and then it's pretty much step by step. So if we take out the overnight high, then the next hurdle is 63 to 65 half. We have Friday's RTH high at 66 quarter, pretty decent area of resistance up there. And once we manage to go through that one, then the next key area is going to be that 70 quarter to 72.75, which is still larger time frame resistance. So, given how dominant the sell side has been here in the overnight session, we do have to be pretty careful, which means that even if we're taking some long setups, we want to be a little bit more careful with the target. If we're not seeing any major signs of upside momentum in real time, which would be needed and which would signal buyers stepping in, then we don't want to hold those long setups for too long of a period because those profits could just evaporate intraday. So if you are getting a good entry on the long side, just understand that this bias could be in the process of changing, especially if 44 to 46 fails. And in that case, you don't want to overstay necessarily unless, again, you're seeing some very clear-cut signs in real time supporting the idea of some big momentum to the upside coming into the market, some larger time frame buyers participating in that move. Otherwise, it's going to be just kind of a reactionary type play. And, if sellers are very dominant, if the momentum is bearish, then we're going to also try to find some spots to get on board on the short side, but we do have to get somewhat good trade location. You don't want to get overly aggressive where you're shorting it right into support. That can still be risky because the short-term bias is neutral. Typically, when it's neutral, even if the longs aren't going to work or if the shorts aren't going to work, it's still somewhat of a two-sided market. Today, even if we break down a bit, unless we're seeing just a lot of downside momentum, we could still bounce, at least short term, at the support areas below, which means that even on the short side, you are going to want to wait for that bounce and secure somewhat decent location in real time on the short side. And then on the long side, given that the sellers are dominant overnight, you definitely want to secure good trade location and understand that if 44 to 46 fails, 40 half fails, then it's completely a failed balance breakout, and that could put a lot of the recent buyers in a risky position, and it can kind of cascade from that point on. So that's how the market is set up at this point in time. Let's see how ES responds to 44 to 46, and we'll take it from there.